Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chad Arms, a.k.a. Chatty Bobby. Oh, 1140.
My name is Tony Wilson, a.k.a. Friday the 14th. Welcome to the show. And to my immediate left is...
What's up, everyone?
Go ahead.
What's up, everyone? I'm Hot Mike Chance. All I got.
And I am BJ the DJ. I just realized Chad's saying 11:30 when he does it. I just caught that.
10 years later, dude, I started doing it in
The whole
2013.
time I've been watching this podcast, I just realized he's going 11:30.
What did you think I was saying?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Mountain Dew. Dude, I gotta find it, but it's on this channel somewhere. But just this is how funny like me and Tony and Jordan's friendship is. I spent hours one day going through and watching my old wrestling unboxing videos just to clip out my intro from each one, and I have a video of nothing but the 11:30 intros.
Some of the best are when he goes, Chatty Bobby, 11:30.
Yeah, you can see the evolution of it.
Oh, man.
Oh, dude, we got.
We got to find that thing.
It's on my channel. Yeah, I'll find it.
I just caught that too when he did it. I was like, that's what he's saying.
And we're back for another episode. Here we
We're
are.
back, man. This is part 2, so we're going to attach part 1 in the description in the live chat in the comment section. This is our first time that we've had to do this. This is a 2-parter, so we've already recorded a part 1 of this. We're talking everything SummerSlam, okay? SummerSlam matches. We got from SummerSlam 88 to SummerSlam 2000 in the first episode. This one we'll power through a little bit quicker, and it's the rest of them from 2001 to present. But before we get into it, man, y'all be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, follow us on all the audio platforms of podcasting. We've got all our Instagrams in the description. Y'all go hit them up. And hit up the sponsors, Trouble Spirits, Nixon Pro Media, and
Revolution One Media.
Stamped. Shout out to Mel. We got this fire merch in. Got the show improves. Got the humbles.
We're just showing proving out today.
We're showing and proving it out, baby.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out,
Check
man.
out that orange. That's
popping,
Rocky Top.
son.
That's Rocky Top orange right
Actually,
there. Go Balls.
It looks more Clemson orange, but
No,
that's
it's
just,
Rocky Top orange. Fuck Clemson.
I agree with that. That's a stamp.
Stamp.
Rocky Top. YOLO. Anyways,
Oh yeah, dude.
we got college football. Well,
It's close.
Your favorite college has a football team, but we won't discuss it.
Yeah, I mean Vanderbilt. I mean they don't count.
They don't even. Their stadium's not even going to be ready for them.
They
to
raise
play.
doctors. Like, who
It's
cares
not.
if they can play
No.
football?
That's awesome.
Vanderbilt plays the
They're
first.
actually going to have a real life.
Vanderbilt, I think, plays the first official college football game of the season, and their stadium's not going to be ready for it.
That's pretty
Hey, it's
cool.
okay. They turn out national champions in baseball. So,
That's very
Hell
true.
yeah. Shout out Jerry Stackhouse coaching the guys basketball team.
They are getting better there, too.
That's some
They had
cool
a good
shit.
run last year.
Hey, Isaiah West, be on the lookout for that kid. He's a Vanderbilt kid from Springfield. Went to where did he go to? Was it Davidson? Did he go to Davidson? They won the state championship there. He committed to Vanderbilt. Kid's gonna be an absolute monster.
Nice.
Basketball? Oh,
Isaiah
local.
West,
Oh, yeah.
local, absolute monster. Shout out Isaiah West. So
Yeah, shout out.
We know you're watching.
Yeah, man.
if not, we'll tag him.
For sure.
We'll tag you.
For sure. So, starting it off on this part 2, SummerSlam 2001. Okay, we're coming off the first one of the new millennium, SummerSlam 2000. They had the triple threat match with Kurt Angle and was it The Rock and Triple H?
Triple H, yeah.
So we're in 2001 now. Also, SummerSlam 2000. That's the one that had the TLC match.
I did have the TLC match.
Yeah, the one y'all was talking about in the last episode. So, this is a very.
And where Shane fell off the jumbotron with Steve Blackman. Where
Yeah.
Steve
Oh,
Blackman.
that's this one. That's this one, right?
No, that was in 2000. That was 2000, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh,
Where he
2000,
hit him with
okay.
hit him with the kendo stick, and then he fell off the side of the jumbotron.
So crazy that stuff was.
I mean, he pulled some things out of his ass, man. It was like,
Were y'all a Steve Blackman fan?
No.
I mean, he was vanilla paste, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to him, though.
No personality to him.
No.
He started to when he got with Al Snow and all that. Like he started to kind of play like he was like the serious of that little tag team. And he was dope and like as far as in ring, but like he was kind of like Dean Malenko.
I kind of felt like William Regal should have put together a faction with Dan Severn, Ken Shamrock, Steve Blackman.
Oh man.
Like they should have put together, kind of like what he did with the combat club he's got now in AEW. that he had, put together a faction like that and have those guys. Because, like, Steve Blackman could go. And but he just.
He looked the part, too.
Yeah. He just didn't have any personality whatsoever. Kendo stick in hand. So.
Yeah.
Man.
And this is one of my favorites. SummerSlam 2001 is one of my favorites because this is at the Invasion angle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
And they start unifying a lot of the WCW titles and the WWE titles, or WWF titles at the time. So I think the first match on this card was actually X-Pac and Tajiri. And they were unifying the WCW Cruiserweight title and the WWF Light Heavyweight title. So, I mean, really dope. Like the whole Invasion angle. Too bad they didn't bring in some of the bigger stars for the Invasion angle, but
like
they
Billy
really did a
Kidman.
good job of putting over certain guys. One of the best matches on this card was a cage match with Brothers of Destruction, who were the WCW champions, versus DDP and Kanyon, who were the WWF champions. And Taker and Kane ended up winning the unification belt. So
What did they merge the European title with?
the European title eventually went with the Intercontinental title. I think.
Did it go
Yeah,
with
I think they ended up. I remember there being one point where Angle had both those belts. He had the European and the IC. I think when they did the unification with the U.S. title type thing, I think it all came together.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I don't think WCW had another title other than the U.S. title that they could merge with anything, and then they of course ended up bringing it back. But yeah, they didn't. I don't remember the European title being around at this point in 2001. I think it was already done at that point. So.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember X-Pac's always having the European title.
Yeah, D'Lo was the only one I ever remember.
Yeah.
Like he carried that thing like it was.
I think Christian. I remember Christian having it too. I think.
Yeah, it was a nice mid card title, but I think it was one of those that if Davey Boy didn't have it, it didn't make sense anybody else having it.
Yeah.
So type thing, you know.
D'Lo out there wearing his baseball chest protector.
Yeah, yeah, that frog splash though.
Yep.
That was serious.
He had a hell of a frog splash though.
Yeah, he definitely did. You had Angle and Austin for the title.
Yeah, this was a cool one too. Like Angle and Austin was dope because Austin was playing the heel during this.
Yeah.
Again,
This is after-
WCW.
That's
this-
that horrible idea of him pairing with Vince McMahon
Right.
after WrestleMania 17.
Yep, absolutely. And he was playing the heel during this one, and they did the old switcheroo where like Nick Patrick came in and got involved, and he did the count. So you know, of course, Austin wins, but
He kept getting cheered for though. Like
Yeah.
you can't do that.
He
But they were
could-
trying to Hulk Hogan him, and it didn't work, man.
Yeah.
Well, so what happened?
He was
in
the
this-
anti-hero at the beginning anyway.
Right,
Exactly.
right. And what I liked about this was like this was one of those where this could have been a WrestleMania main event match between these two, but the finish was so terrible. Nick Patrick comes down and disqualifies Austin, so he retains the title because he saw Angle get hit with the belt. That's what the finish was. So terrible finish, but the match itself was great up to that point. So
The shitty finish, yeah.
and Angle was a machine during that match. I mean, he really looked good. Austin made him look really good. And this is older Austin, of course. He's getting ready to wind down a little bit, but I mean, made Angle look great. Angle did a good job making Austin look strong, man. Really great match, other than the finish, but it makes sense due to the way that the invasion angle. It made sense having Nick
Angle was a
Patrick
freak
in
of
there.
nature.
Oh,
Man.
unbelievable.
He was just
Unbelievable.
it's unreal. We talked about it last episode of how easy it was for him to transition. And that's crazy. Just to
And him and Austin had really good chemistry together.
Yeah.
Like the heel Austin with the corny, cheesy antics of Angle and all that stuff. It worked out really well. So, you know.
well, that's another thing. Back to those times too. You had with Triple H in the main event. All those guys worked so well
Yeah.
together.
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
They all of them had such great chemistry
Yeah.
within each other. It at that time of the main event, other than the finishes,
Yeah.
it didn't matter who you put in there together. You were going to get a great match until
Definitely.
mainly the finishes back then.
Heel
'Cause I
Austin
remember
was
back
good,
then the finishes would just so piss you off so much back then.
So much interference too. Like
Yeah.
a lot of interference.
It's
in these
ridiculous
matches.
amounts of it.
I hated it. And it started, I think, around the 2000 time frame. Man, just so much interference. There was never a clean finish, hardly any match. There was always something weird going on. I just hated it. I
Yeah.
hated interference.
What do you think the justification for that was? It just didn't want to make anybody look too weak?
I think
or-
that was you had so many dominant guys at that time frame. I think it was like you didn't want anybody to look like they were weak. Yeah. Trying to protect the gimmick. SummerSlam 2001 also had a very underappreciated match. I felt like was RVD and Jeff Hardy in a ladder match for the hardcore title, like one of the worst belts ever. And these guys went out there and really put on a clinic.
Yeah, him and
RVD,
I loved RVD.
Yeah,
I mean,
RVD was
I've
great.
always loved RVD and Jeff
Yeah,
Hardy.
like looking at this card, that and Lance Storm and Edge, those two are the matches that stand out the most to me.
Yep. So you were a Lance Storm fan?
I mean, I like him as a worker. I didn't really like. He didn't really have like a gimmick.
Yeah,
but
I did like when he won all the belts and put the Canadian sticker over top of all of them. I liked that. That was dope.
Yeah, you had Booker T and Rock for the WCW title.
Yeah, great match. Booker really showed he can go.
Yeah,
he was going to be there for a while. Yeah, Booker, great match. This was one of those that you could tell WWE was riding high at the end of this because you had Rock win the belt and you had Austin with the belt. So you had two of the top guys in the business.
It's Barry and
holding
WCW.
both of those belts.
Yep.
Barry and WCW.
Yep.
That's it. That's a good way to put it.
What guys they got from WCW that was worth a shit, and they buried them.
Yeah.
And then next year, you had SummerSlam 2002, which the two things you've gotten written down are the two things that I remember.
Yeah.
You had Brock and Rock, and you had Shawn and Triple H in the street fight where Shawn's in the blue jeans and the boots. And
just the build up for that whole Triple H, Shawn Mike, because you thought everything was buddy. They were DX. Everything was DX again and all that. And
how long was Shawn out before he came
I was going to say, I think he got
five
hurt in
or
Royal
6
Rumble
years,
I think he got hurt in Royal Rumble of '98 when him was fighting Undertaker, and then he powered through WrestleMania 14 with Austin, and I want to say he was gone from then until you can look it up, but
really?
I'm pretty sure I don't know if he wrestled in '99.
No.
So
I think
after
it was gone
he was done.
Yep.
Really?
Maybe.
He got no send off or anything. It was that simple. He was.
I think it was 98 to.
Well, I think he was doing remember he was doing the commissioner stuff.
He was
doing some of that stuff, and
it just wasn't in ring.
Yep.
I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive this was his first return in 4 years.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I remember seeing him on TV
because he had the short hair.
Because he got put in the wheelchair for a while. He got ran over by the car or something like that, or jumped in the back and it come out. It was Triple H that did it all and everything. Security footage and everything because it was all pixelated and we could clear this up and it was Triple H.
Shout out to effects.
Pixelation.
Shout out to pixelation.
Did you find it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you you looked. You
that was the last time that he wrestled. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because
he was gone for 5 years.
In them documentaries, the Shawn Michaels documentary, I'm almost positive that's what happened. Because I remember when he the way he landed, Taker threw him over the ropes and he landed out on the ring.
On the announce table.
And he landed weird. Yeah.
And it was hurting him bad during the WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
This is my favorite SummerSlam.
It's up there.
It's a good SummerSlam.
If you look at the card, every match on there except for probably Undertaker versus Test is awesome. Yeah. Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio.
Yep. Banger.
Chris Jericho and Ric Flair.
Yep.
Even though it's older Ric Flair, but
I remember that match.
Eddie Guerrero and Edge. This is the workers SummerSlam right here.
Dude, 02 and 03 were great years in WWE.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Brock and the Rock match was the changing of the guard. Brock was the guy.
He becomes the youngest champion at that time, which Randy Orton breaks his record a couple years later. But
this was a cool one because this is when Brock wins that undisputed title, which to me is one of the best versions of the world title they had, WWF had. And they didn't have it long enough at all.
And they were booing the shit out of The Rock, man. Because this is when The Rock was doing the movies and he was all skinny and he had just came back. It was he was dipping his toe.
Hairline going on at the time.
No, he takes off after this and starts shooting movies. So this is when Brock takes the title and goes to SmackDown right after this, and then Triple H gets crowned world. They bring the world title back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But SummerSlam 2002 is definitely one of the. I'd say it's definitely top 5.
Yeah, it's got to be
for sure. This next one's really dope too, though. But the main thing that I take away from this is the Elimination Chamber.
Yep, that was the big one,
and it was a huge one, bro. You had Chris Jericho, Goldberg, Kevin Nash, Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H.
Oh, wow. That's the one that Goldberg spears Jericho through the chamber. Right?
Yes.
Yep, goes through the chamber.
And Evolution doesn't Evolution gang up on him or something?
This is the one where they start building up Evolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Orton gets eliminated, but then Orton helps Triple H with beat up Goldberg at the end of it.
Doesn't Flair get involved too or something?
Yeah, so you saw Flair and Orton and Triple H beat up Goldberg at the end, but this is where they're starting to build up Evolution. Batista comes on later on.
A great faction.
Great fact. One of the greatest. I mean, think about the world champions that came out of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can say what you want about Batista, man, but I loved his entrance. Comes out, he does the machine gun thing, the pyro.
I think the best story,
he's always been awesome. Man,
the best story about Evolution, though, is Ric Flair. About how he, the story behind how Triple H noticed that he was he wasn't Ric Flair.
Right.
He was down on himself. Didn't
Right.
think he was supposed to be there and all that. And then it was Triple H's idea to bring Flair into Evolution, and then
it's so great. It was the most. It was a great Four Horsemen Offspring type version of a faction, man. Like it was like Flair goes from being the start of a faction to being basically the culmination of a faction. Like it all ties back to Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Like it was so well done. But what I didn't like about that faction was how out of shape Triple H was.
Is that when he was wearing like the
He
short
was bloated,
tights?
like because
that's when
rumor has it he was trying to get off the juice because they were trying to have a baby.
Yeah.
That's what the rumor is.
That and at some point, one of those times, he had just come off the injury from where he tore his pec or his quad or something.
He had the mutton chop little thing going, and
Yeah,
he was
wearing
bloated.
like the
spandex shorts.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good look for Triple H, but I mean, him having that world heavyweight title at that time was like he was synonymous with that belt.
Oh, yeah.
And it made sense because like Flair was synonymous with it too. So it was very well done.
And Flair got a tag title out
Got
of
a
that
tag
run?
title reign out of it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It was worth it. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got SummerSlam 2004. This is when you start to see John Cena.
New blood.
John Cena was 03, 02. Like they all came in that same year. You had Orton, Batista, Cena,
Is this
Lesnar.
the year Orton wins the title and becomes the youngest world heavyweight champ?
04.
This is
Yep.
Benoit versus Orton.
Okay.
Benoit was champion. He
Benoit
won the title.
won it in WrestleMania 20. Yep, in the triple threat with Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
The whole demise of Evolution was so well planned out too.
Oh, yeah.
Orton
when they
goes
do the whole
in,
thing,
the
yeah.
whole
Yeah,
even
that's
from
just dope.
Orton's kicking Orton out, and also Batista's like claim to which title he's going to defend. The whole thing was so well done,
Mm-hmm.
and kudos to Triple H and Flair. I'm sure they had their hand on a lot of it, but like. Orton wins the belt. They're celebrating with him. You get the thumbs down. He drops him, and then it sets up Orton and Triple H.
Yeah.
I mean, just so well done.
It's
man.
great booking.
Great, yeah, definitely. Like you don't.
It's
hear
long-term booking.
Yes, definitely.
It's what they went with that one. And they just, like you said, they set it up perfectly. With
They
it.
did. I mean, it couldn't have been done any better. And who better than Orton? Orton will tell you he wasn't ready at the time, but he was the guy. Orton
Yeah.
was the man.
Yeah.
So you knew something great was there, and he's one of the best all time there. I don't know where.
Yeah,
he
I'm a
ranks, but
huge Orton fan.
he's-
I'm a huge, and I've become more of a fan on him later in life,
Yeah.
or later in his career, more than the beginning of his career.
Definitely.
And you can see that like he's doing the changing of the guard now
Yep.
too, where he's willing to put people over. And
I mean, he's got to be the last one out of our. He's got to be the last one left. Cena's gone. Edge is about to be gone. Orton's got to be the last one out of that bunch. That's
yeah.
I hope they
And
give
Lesnar.
him.
Lesnar. Well, I think Lesnar's gone too.
Yeah.
I hope they give Randy one more
run.
good
Where's he? Is he
championship
at
run.
15 or is he at? He's close.
Yeah, I think
15. I mean, yeah, why not?
Then you had Cena and Booker T. They were doing like the best of 5 series. This was like the first of that match.
I think this was the U.S. title.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
that's
was
what I was
best of
fixing.
5 for
That's how
US
Cena
title.
got introduced into the titles.
Did he?
pushing.
Was this before the spinner
This
U.S.
was
title?
when he wins this. I think he wins this best of 5 series, and then the spinner belt comes in right after.
The spinner, because I completely when I was looking up belts one night, I completely
Forgot about that one.
the spinner U.S. title belt.
Yep, and it was dope because I think he carried the regular the older version. I think he carried that for a while before the spinner came in play, and then that one came out of nowhere. And then I don't think he had the title that long until he won the WWE title. So
Yeah, until Cena domination took over. It's just
Right.
like, what a wildfire that thing was.
man, unbelievable. He had a run, dude. Another match on this 04 was Taker and JBL. That was a very underappreciated rivalry right there. I mean, JBL had a year with the title, I think,
Yeah,
and that was a good
great
year.
heel.
Oh,
Good
man,
heel.
great heel. One
Great
of-
heel. Easy to hate JBL.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he thrived in that role too.
I never did buy into it.
You didn't like it?
Really?
No.
I thought he did great with it.
It just reminded me of like a rip off, like kind of like Ric Flair type. Not the styling and profiling stuff, but just like
the
the
money.
limousine and
Yeah,
all
I mean,
that
he
stuff.
had his own little faction at
Yep.
some point.
And
too.
I-
I think they did well with
And
him.
I think he done so well with the APA
Yeah.
Bradshaw that it was just hard for me to forget about that. And then he goes to that gimmick.
He was
But
definitely not a person I ever thought would win the WWE title, and I was shocked when they
Yep.
put it on him. I was like, wow, different. They didn't expect that. So.
Some of those
But in
matches,
ring, I like them.
those matches that he had when he had
in
the
ring,
title.
he's a
Him and Cena beat the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Him and Eddie Guerrero too.
Yeah.
I mean that match when Eddie wins the title off of him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean he had some battles, man, and he's another one. Like when I think of him, other than the APA stuff, I think about him with that undisputed title because he had it for a whole year.
Yeah.
And he had some really good matches during that year. So
The heel work was phenomenal.
oh, phenomenal! Yeah, it's
Phenomenal.
easy to boo him.
Yeah,
Easy
and
to boo him.
that's what you want out of your top level heel.
That's what I was telling my son last night. So Don Callis comes out and cuts a promo at the beginning of Dynamite with Jericho in the ring, and everyone is literally every time Don Callis says a word, they're booing him. My son starts to feel bad for Don Callis. I said, Bubba, he's doing his job. He goes, what do you mean? I was like, he wants to get booed. He goes, why? So I'm trying to explain to an 8-year-old drawing heat, like what that means. And so he finally gets it, but he felt bad for Don Callis for getting booed every time he opened his mouth. I was like, that's a great heel right there. Like
he's doing his job.
Love him or hate him, he's doing his job. So
Yeah. And then we got Summer. Well, we're going to have to probably power through these guys. We got like 18 more to go.
Roll with it.
SummerSlam 2005. This is the one that the main thing I remember from this is Shawn Michaels overselling Hogan. There's other matches on it. We got them listed, but like
Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero.
This
Dominic.
is the first reason I hate Hulk Hogan. I remembered how much I hate Hulk Hogan because there was no reason for you to beat Shawn Michaels. You're over the heel, dog. You're old, decrepit. Take your ass home. Go home.
And you saw in that match where Shawn Michaels was overselling it.
Shout out Shawn Michaels for taking matters into his own hands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll agree with you on this one, BJ, on Hogan.
Yeah,
I agree on this one too. I mean, my Hogan, love is the nostalgic Hogan back in the day.
Yeah,
hated it.
But you also had a dope match between Matt Hardy and Edge. That's when they were having that whole feud with what's her name?
Lita.
Which was real life. That ended up being bleeding over into work. Yeah. You had Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, like you talked about,
for Dominic, which is crazy now that he is.
Hate that match.
It's a terrible match, but
I hate the Dominic. I don't watch wrestling anymore.
Yeah, but it's crazy now that Dominic is he's a title holder now.
Yeah, that makes me sick because he's not a good. He's not.
No, he's not.
I hate it.
He's not.
He's horrible, and I've watched clips trying to figure out what.
It's just
nothing. None of Rey Mysterio's wrestling qualities rubbed off on his son.
Not at all.
Not even his looks or anything.
And Rey Mysterio's not the greatest talker, but he talks a hell of a lot.
He doesn't have to. He's the fucking GOAT.
Exactly.
Rey Mysterio's the GOAT.
But he talks better than his son does.
Definitely.
For his size, like for him fighting injuries all them years. You also had Angle and Eugene, man. Y'all remember Eugene?
Eugene was a worker, man. Eugene worked. And that Angle match, I'm telling you, go back and rewatch it. That's one of the best matches I saw. Like, Eugene took Angle through the ringer. Mm-hmm. He really did. And Angle did a great job making Eugene look good that match. So, definitely a dope match.
But yeah, SummerSlam 2005 was cool. The year 2005, I think was good.
Wrestling in general.
The wrestling was great in general because I had that 2005 set that WWE had, the DVD set, and there wasn't really a bad pay-per-view on that set. And you had the ECW pay-per-view in that one too.
Oh yeah, we're
Extreme Rules,
RVD
or whatever it's called. Yeah. Yep. When they like how heated it got when they were going back to the old ECW arena.
Another where Bradshaw got some serious heat.
He got punched for real. He got punched for real.
No, that's when he punched Blue Meanie.
He beat up Blue Meanie, which I mean he got his payback.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about. Remember when he was up in the crowd and everything, and was just covered in heat.
That's when you saw Paul Heyman at his best.
Oh yeah,
that was one of the best.
With the fake ponytail.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of ECW though, 2006 is when the ECW title first got defended.
This is when WWE started ruining ECW, bro. They just they ran it into the ground.
But I felt like Big Show was a very legitimate ECW champion.
He was, but it was the ECW and WWE was the most watered down bullshit.
Agree. And the only reason why Big Show ended up with the title is because RVD had his incident where they stripped him.
Yeah, they've always done this with Big Show where they never really pushed him like as a champion for the big belt.
He's just a holder.
Yeah,
you're right.
A space holder. I agree with that.
Because he's probably after that he turned face.
He's the most face heel flip flopper ever, and that just shows that he's good. He can do it.
Yeah. Yes.
But also though, this is when Randy Orton and Hogan fought. Was this when Orton was doing the Legend
This
Killer
is the
stuff?
second reason why I hate Hulk Hogan is the Legend Killer gimmick. Hulk Hogan had a way of stepping on a hot storyline and just crushing it, and this was no different. Like Randy Orton had beat every single legend there was, and then he wrestles Hulk Hogan. He's flirting with his daughter, doing all that stuff, and he should have beat Hogan that year, but Hogan, of course, had to go over. Why Hogan was the exception to the rule when it comes to different, I don't get it, but it's made no sense.
Can't do it, brother.
No sense.
But
2
yeah,
years in a row, Hogan should have lost.
He's not a legend. He's the legend.
He's the biggest piece of crap I ever saw in my life. Like terrible.
Chen's over here stirring the pot. Chen's over here stirring the pot.
Pastor, and I'm gonna be honest.
Going and double hand that mic.
2006 and 7 in WWE, I wasn't the biggest fan of WWE in 2006, 7, and 8. Man, it was kind of, it wasn't bad. It was just kind of. It was just all right.
Yeah, this is around the time where I started fading off from watching for a while.
I did too.
Yeah,
I
too.
stopped watching in 2006 and 7 and 8 and came back in 2009. But I went back after and watched through all of them. But this also had the Flair and Foley I Quit match.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever. The coolest thing about that, like I guess somebody had mentioned one of the others in a book. Talked about
Foley mentioned Flair.
That's
in a
it.
book.
Foley mentioned Flair. Flair said something about Foley being a glorified stunt man. That sets up this feud. This match was a pretty decent match. The one cool thing I did watch about this match, I did like, was the spot where Flair wrapped barbed wire on his hand and then chopped Foley's chest a couple times. I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
But Flair did a good job, I guess, going into Foley's world. Pretty decent match. It was the main event, I think, for that pay-per-view. It was just kind of, not a bad match at all.
What kind of mindset do you have to get yourself into to go in a match with Mick Foley, you think?
I mean, you got to know you're going to get hurt. You got to know you're going to get cut. You got to know you're going to get thumbtacks. You just got to know. You got to mentally prepare yourself for that.
It's just
the finish was stupid in this match, though. Melina jumps in front of Foley, and Foley yells, "I quit," because Flair's about to hit her with the barbed wire bat type thing. I mean, again,
another screwy finish.
A screwy finish, man. Just terrible.
One of WWE specialties at this time.
Yeah, I mean, for the next few years, you see a lot of terrible finishes, lazy booking, whatever you want to call it. So,
SummerSlam 2007. 2007. The reason why I'm not a big fan of it is because that's when it was the whole Great Khali era, and I fucking hated every bit of Great Khali shit.
When was the Punjabi prison match? Was that during this time frame?
That was like New Year's Revolution 2000.
Is that what it was called, the Punjabi prison?
but this was,
No,
I felt like him and Batista wrestled way too many matches.
So did him and Cena.
Yeah.
He fought Cena like fucking 800 times. It felt like. And this one you had Morrison and CM Punk for the ECW title.
This was when Morrison was at Vengeance. This is when Morrison stepped in at Vengeance to defend. The ECW title was vacant. Morrison steps in. Benoit. This is when the Benoit murder happened. And so Morrison wins the belt. Of course, they didn't quite feel. I guess Benoit was booked to win the belt that night. And then, of course, he no-showed. Didn't show up. We know what happens. But Morrison wins the belt. And him and CM Punk have their rivalry, which was pretty decent. I liked Morrison.
I've always been a Morrison
He was a
fan.
worker. He was one of those guys. I'd put him in the same category as Hennig and Dolph Ziggler and those guys. But pretty decent little rivalry there they had for the ECW title.
Yeah, and you had Triple H and King Booker, which was just kind of it was all right, blah. And then you had Great Khali and Batista for the World Heavyweight title, and just imagine.
Awful.
Cena and Orton for the title. This was one of their several matches.
Yeah.
They've always had a good feud, man.
Yeah. I never thought
they're polar opposites as far as
they had
wrestlers.
a bad match ever.
No, never, man.
Ever.
But overall, SummerSlam 2007, it's kind of forgettable to me, man. It's not that it was terrible, but it was just kind of that Great Khali stuff. I couldn't get down with any of that, man.
I mean, but you're going to see the Cena and Orton match for the next few pay-per-view, like few SummerSlams. So that just lets you know how long that rivalry ran. So you got like 2009, it was the same. 2008, of course, was Edge and Taker in the Hell in a Cell.
Oh, great Hell in a Cell.
Great. That's really the only thing I remember about it. Oh,
yeah, that was the standout. Yeah.
And this was, I think, when they were saying Edge was going to get a chance to break the streak. Was that WrestleMania that year where Edge and Taker went at it?
So,
in
2008, that would have been WrestleMania 24, which is when Flair and Michaels fought. I know.
Was that Batista and Taker at 24? Or was
No,
that 20,
that was Michaels and Taker, wasn't it? 24, 25? Yeah, 24 and 25 was Michaels and Taker. 26 and 27 was Triple H and Taker.
Yep.
So, Taker, this was a really cool match. Like, Taker beat the brakes off Edge, and then there at the end, Taker heads up the ramp. He notices the Edge is trying to get up. He goes back, sets the ladder up, chokeslams off the ladder.
And then, and then the fire comes through the ring and everything.
Yeah. So, super dope match.
Yes.
Definitely.
But yeah, in 2009, you had another Orton Cena match for the title, for the WWF title.
Orton wanted no part of this match whatsoever.
Now, wasn't it like, didn't you said it was like if he got DQ'd, then he loses the belt? Like
Yes,
it's one of those exceptions kind of deals?
So it was like Orton played the heel great here. He gets disqualified after shoving the ref. Vince restarts the match and says if Orton gets DQ'd, he loses the belt. Orton then gets counted out, and Vince comes back and says if you get counted out, you lose the belt. And so then Brett DiBiase, who was standing in the crowd, this was the legacy angle. Brett DiBiase was in the crowd. He jumps the guardrail, attacks Cena, who then Orton hit an RKO when Cena was distracted and wins the belt. So Orton wanted no part of it.
To go back, 2008 WrestleMania was Flair and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then,
Who did Taker wrestle that?
It was Edge.
Shawn Michaels.
Edge. It was Edge.
Yeah.
It was Edge.
Yep.
Oh, I'm tripping.
Yep.
Yeah, my bad. 25 and 26
6 was
Shawn and
Yep.
Taker.
Yeah.
My fault. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was when they were going to break the streak with Edge, and Edge goes, "No, we're not doing that." That's kudos to Edge for that.
Then you had
all respect for Edge.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy and Punk for the ladder match for the World Heavyweight title.
Yep.
That was the whole angle, I think, when CM Punk was going at Jeff Hardy for being a drunk and
the straight edge stuff.
Which was a good faction too.
Yeah, and I noticed you got in the notes too, which looking back at that makes sense. That was the last SummerSlam. The ECW title was even a thing.
Yeah, even
they had buried it all the way to oblivion by that point.
I think by that December, they did a Hell in a Cell. Ezekiel Elliott was the last ECW champion, I think, at that point.
And just disappeared.
Shout out to Ezekiel Elliott, former
And
Dallas
I think the belt was
Cowboys.
silver
running
at
back.
that point too, like that big silver belt that was too big for everybody but Mark Henry.
Yep.
Hated that belt.
Yeah.
Terrible
And then
belt.
2010, the only thing about 2010 I remember is Nexus.
Yeah.
What did y'all think of the Nexus angle?
I liked it.
I liked
liked
it. I for some reason, they fell flat with it.
I didn't like a lot of the. I thought some of the wrestlers in there were just trash.
Shout out to the
Harris.
homie Ryback.
Shout out Husky Harris.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, so and they had like Michael
Keith Slater.
Tarver. Yeah, Michael Tarver.
Heath Slater.
Oh, Heath Slater. I was like, who's
what-
Keith? His twin
Keith
brother.
Keith
Hernandez.
Gibbs, the
Keith
feed.
Slater is an R&B singer.
Yeah, Heath Sweat.
Slater. What's the name of the album?
Heath Slater.
This was the one where Daniel Bryan came back. He got fired for choking out. Was it Justin
Roberts.
Yeah, Justin
with
Roberts.
his tie?
Yep.
That was one of the best invasion type angles I've ever. But they came and
yeah.
destroyed everything.
Oh yeah,
They really did a good
destroyed
job building that
Cena.
up. Now Wade Barrett was Wade Barrett was the only person I could see being the leader of that
I
faction.
always liked Wade Barrett.
Yeah,
bro.
he was great. I felt like he
never
should have
used
got a
it.
run.
I know he fought injuries with like his shoulder and all kinds of other shit.
Yeah.
But Wade Barrett was fucking money, dog.
Yeah, oh yeah.
With-
Bad,
he was
I
great.
like
He
the
could
bad
talk.
news Barrett.
Yeah.
The bad
I mean, and
news Barrett gimmick.
they put the world heavyweight title on Jack Swagger when it could have easily have been Wade Barrett.
Fun
Exactly.
It
fact,
could've
I've
easily-
always fucking hated Jack Swagger.
I hated Jack
Oh,
Swagger
listen.
too. Hated
Get
him.
go.
Well, I just hate. He fucking
Double
sucks. He can't talk. He's got a lisp.
If
He
it
could
wasn't
whoop my
for,
ass.
if it
I know he's
wasn't
an
for
All-American
his
wrestler.
amateur background, he would have never got.
Jim
he
Ross,
never got
I
a world
love
title.
you. You're one of the greatest announcers ever. But you and these daggum collegiate wrestlers, the
Yes.
only one that really did turn into somebody fucking special is Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
Yep.
Preach.
You was
Shelton Benjamin too.
Shelton. Shout out Shelton. Another one should have got a title run.
Yeah, he's great at like Money in the Bank matches
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
Shout out
yeah.
Shelton Benjamin, but like Lesnar was the only true superstar that was from that cloth. I feel like
Yeah.
because Dr. Death they pushed to the moon, and you saw what happened with him. He was a big collegiate wrestler, and
Yes.
Jack Swagger, same thing. He just never. I missed. It's a shoo.
2011 is one of my favorite SummerSlams. This is the CM Punk versus Cena for the undisputed title.
Mm-hmm.
The backstory to this one was Punk wins the belt in Chicago, disappears for a while. They have a title. They have a title tournament on Raw. Rey Mysterio wins it. Has to defend it later on that night against Cena. Of course, Super Cena succeeds and wins. And then Punk shows up with the WWE title, and he goes, "It looks just like mine." Like they're standing in the ring and they're holding the belt. The thing I hate about this is I hated that Cena beat Rey Mysterio, but it made sense why he did, and I hated that CM Punk came back so quick. They really could have pushed this out a little farther, but this is when the summer of CM Punk started coming, and CM Punk had his long title reign.
Yeah.
Unified the title belts, and he had his run where he was unstoppable. Unbelievable.
That pop coming out. And being in Chicago, it's one of those. It's a Road Warrior pop when he comes out right there. It's one of those that makes your hair stand up, goosebumps.
Yeah. So, but this was the good thing. Like Punk wins this match, and then Kevin Nash shows up. This was dark hair Kevin Nash. Like he dyed his hair black. He shows up. He power bombs Punk, and then Del Rio cashes in Money in the Bank. So then it was the chase. After that, it was now we're setting up a Punk Nash feud for some reason, and then of course he gets his title run for the summer of.
That's when he makes fun of like the crickety knees.
That was it.
Promos
That was
and
it.
Stuff.
That was it. That was the worst. I don't know why that happened. It was just kind of random. So.
Yeah, and in 2012, the SummerSlam, you had the triple threat title match with Show, Cena, and Punk. Yeah. Which this was in that time frame where Punk was just really carrying the company.
That definitely.
At that point. Which it was a great match.
Triple H and Brock wrestled the main event, this is when Brock returned, and then he broke Triple H's arm type thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, they had some. Let's just go right to the next one though, because that next one, SummerSlam 2013. This was towards the end of me watching WWF. I think I watched up to like 2015.
Okay.
And then I hadn't really watched it except for hearing like a WrestleMania here or there since then, but. Brock Lesnar and CM Punk's match at SummerSlam 2013 was fucking crazy.
Unbelievable.
It never stopped going.
Never. Yep.
I remember watching it live because this was before the network.
Yep. This is one of my favorite Brock. There's not a Brock Lesnar match other than the one with Rock that stands out, but this is the first time I saw Brock Lesnar do anything other than just suplex somebody the whole match. Like he literally, like him and Punk went at it. This was a really dope match. It could have went either way. In both. You also had the Cena and Daniel Bryan. This is when Cena handpicked Daniel Bryan as his opponent. Really super dope match. This is what I loved about these matches is you had a lot of cash-ins. Like this is when the Money in the Bank was awesome. Like it was you didn't know what was going to happen. Triple H turns on Daniel Bryan because they never saw him as a marquee player. Turns on him. Orton comes in, cashes in for the title, and then they start their little run where they revamp Evolution once Batista returns later.
And that's also when you start to see Daniel Bryan doing that chase up to WrestleMania 30, which is 2014.
Yeah.
The following year. But, that was, talk about over. But you got something?
Well, going back to the Lesnar CM Punk match, I always thought Lesnar's best matches were with guys that were smaller than him.
Absolutely.
That could go.
Yep.
Good workers.
Good workers. Because Lesnar is willing to take bumps himself.
He plays to his the level of his competition.
Think basically. About they almost like Finn Balor had a good match with Lesnar.
Yeah,
really went out there and pushed Lesnar.
Yeah, and Lesnar strives for that stuff.
Absolutely.
And
him and Cody, their match was unbelievable this year's SummerSlam. But it's super like hit the smaller guys like. Lesnar could either throw them around, but he would also play to their strengths and let them fly around a little bit. And, and he would take some bumps for them, which I think is great.
And of course, it looks good with him tossing a guy halfway across the ring with a suplex too.
Right, definitely.
Well, which SummerSlam was it that he destroys Cena with like the 30 suplex?
The next one. That's the next one.
Yep.
Yeah, 2014 SummerSlam, Cena and Brock for the World Heavyweight title.
Was that in Nashville?
No.
What
I thought was crazy is there's only been one SummerSlam in Nashville. And that
was last year?
2 years ago. 2022.
Yeah.
This was when this is the first of 6 consecutive SummerSlams that Brock Lesnar would main event.
That is crazy.
So this is when he's going on his run. But this is the one. This is after he beats the streak. And then I think there's an interview with Cena where he says Stone Cold and Brock met and they were talking about how they feel like Brock should go in there and squash Cena, and Cena goes, absolutely. Like, why waste what you did with the streak? Why waste the streak on us going having a 50-50 match?
And see, that's the difference in John Cena and Hulk Hogan.
Absolutely.
Hulk Hogan went, and this is coming from a Hulk Hogan fan.
Yep.
But I'm also a big John Cena fan. I always have been.
I'm a huge Cena fan too.
And like, I love Hogan, but like Hogan would have never done that, bro.
He would have wanted to
8 years
squash
previous,
Brock
you saw
Lesnar in
what
10
happened.
seconds.
Oh yeah, he would have said, "I got to
Shawn
go
Michaels
over
and
on
Randy
Brock."
Orton in 05 and 06 back to back. He said, "Nope,
Yeah, got to do it.
I got to go over."
But Cena made sense, but he went out there and he dominated Cena. I mean, you got to think Dave Metzer never gives WWE any credit on their matches. He gave this like a 4.25 stars. You know, despite Cena having very little offense, like Lesnar dominated that match, and they, you know,
The Lesnar Cena match I was thinking of in Nashville was that Night of the Champions.
Night of Champions.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking.
Yeah,
of.
that was that was at Bridgestone. I remember that pay-per-view. Yeah.
And he suplexed him around the ring
The whole time. Yeah,
yeah.
just beat the brakes off of him the whole time.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Lesnar needs. That's what Lesnar needs to do.
Yeah.
That's what he needs to do.
So next up, and again, granted, guys, these next one, the rest of them, I don't really know about.
Yeah.
SummerSlam 2015, Rollins and Cena, winner takes all U.S. and WWE title match.
Okay. Yeah, I remember us watching that one. We watched that one and everything. Rollins wins that match and has wins both the belts.
John Stewart gets involved in
Yes,
this.
that John Stewart.
God.
Yeah,
John
Did you
Stewart
live
gets
stream
involved.
that?
yeah, we live streamed that one.
This is what I loved about this.
man.
This is what I love, and we're going back to somehow tying WCW into this. This was the next night on Raw. They debuted the Seth Rollins statue.
Yes.
And Sting was in the crate instead of the statue.
Yes.
So this was when Sting came back
And
he
built
set
up for that
theirs.
Survivor Series.
Loved it. No, they did the Night of Champions.
Oh, yeah,
Did the Night of Champions. So this was that one. Yeah, but the finish was terrible. You know, John Stewart gets involved, hits Cena, which everyone thought he was going to hit Rollins, but he ends up hitting Cena. I mean, you know. I did like Cena.
What is John Stewart doing at the goddamn main event?
What
What is he doing there?
I did like
Is it in
seeing.
New York?
I did
what-
like seeing Rollins carry the U.S. title and the WWE title. It was cool to see like them let him carry both of those belts at the same time. Because back then, you know, it was always like in the past, if you won the main belt, you had to forfeit the other belt. So it's cool to watch him carry two belts around for a while. It was different.
Shout out to Kool-Aid.
Shout out Bert Kreischer. I got my liter of Kool-Aid here for you, brother.
Because we know you're watching right now.
Bert Kreischer's the GOAT, dude.
Yeah,
Fuck
that's
with
my
the fellow.
motivation.
Don't
for
forget to
drinking
subscribe.
my liter of Kool-Aid.
Yeah, dude.
Bert,
Shout out Bert, dude. I'm gonna find a way to hang out with Bert and Jelly one day.
That'll be
awesome.
dope.
It would be so great, dude, to just film them too. Moving along, dude. SummerSlam 2016. You got Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, the WWE Universal Title match.
Yeah,
I
this-
guess we were still watching
Yeah,
it
we were
this
still
time.
because remember Finn won it and then had to drop it the next night because he got hurt his back
He
and
hurt his
everything.
back, yeah, because it was like a corner move or
Yeah,
something.
it was the outside of the ring where
Or the,
corner bomb, the
corner
power
bomb.
that
Yep.
they did outside on the.
So
on the
okay,
rail.
so we did watch because this is
it was a shoulder. That's
this
what it
is when
was.
we first started. Me and you first started all kicking it. We was
Yeah,
doing
watching
like
live
wrestling
stream.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't. Was there anything else? I mean, there ain't nothing.
That was.
written
I mean, that
down.
was the highlight
it?
of it.
Yeah.
That was
The
the highlight. The
Universal
Universal title.
title.
Finn would have been a good champion, I think. I don't know how long he would have held it for, but he was so over at that point.
Oh,
His
yeah.
entrance, just his entrance, and he also would come out as a demon ever so often. So I mean, he was over. Very deserving of that belt. I mean, you know, he of course he'd have a rematch 7 years later, and that would tie into this year's SummerSlam. But yeah, Finn went over. Him and Seth had a great match. This is when I really started paying attention to Seth Rollins matches. Like,
Yeah, I mean, them two putting on with a match together is it's going to be a barn burner the whole
Oh
time.
yeah, definitely. Both them guys could go. So.
Yeah.
2017 to me is probably the second worst SummerSlam ever, like ever.
Really?
You had the main event was Lesnar and Braun Strowman, and this was when Braun tried to get physical with Lesnar, and Lesnar
Oh,
threw them.
yeah,
Lesnar threw them haymakers on him.
Oh, throw them hands on it, like.
Yeah. I mean, and that's one person you ain't throwing hands with. Don't throw
No,
hands
I don't
with
care
him.
how big you are. You're not throwing hands
No,
with Brock Lesnar.
no. And Braun, you could definitely tell Braun felt that.
Yeah, oh yeah, he knew he
slowed
fucked
him down a little bit.
And you're like, this is when you knew you fucked up.
Yep.
That's that classic saying in a nutshell, right there.
And this is when you start seeing Cena like distance himself. Cena, like, he opened the show against Baron Corbin. Like the worst opening match ever. But
Yeah.
he opened the show with Baron Corbin.
pushing Baron Corbin.
Pushing Baron Corbin. Yes. AJ and Kevin for the U.S. title. Decent match. I think Kevin Owens is a good worker. I think he does a great job. Any capacity. I just watched an interview with him the other day where he was saying he's always been in the right place at the right time. When Finn got hurt, he was the next Universal Champion.
Yeah.
Right place, right time. The Bloodline storyline, he said Sammy's carried that, but I was in the right place at the right time, and if it wasn't for my 20-year relationship with Sammy, I would have never got a chance to be a part of that. But Kevin Owens, in his own right, has earned everything he's gotten in WWE.
Yeah, I've always been an Owens fan.
Yeah, I mean, great match here with AJ Styles. Of course, AJ puts on some great matches too. So that was probably the highlight of that match. But it's probably to me the second worst SummerSlam ever.
So we're at SummerSlam 2018. You got Brock and Roman. I think this is the first time Roman wins his title, right?
This is the first WWE title reign for Roman.
Lesnar gets distracted by, was it Braun or something?
Braun won the Money in the Bank. Braun comes in. He's teasing the cash in the whole time, enough to where Reigns gets the upper hand, spears Lesnar, takes the title.
Yeah, and then
we're starting to get into Roman's time period where he starts dominating WWE and carrying.
That's when I tuned out.
Yeah. And that's when I cashed out.
Yeah, I cashed in my Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Are you not a Reigns fan? Is that what it is?
I think Roman. He seems like a great dude. He's a great talent. He's charismatic as fuck. But they just shoved him down everybody's throat.
Yeah.
I was out at that point. I was checked out.
Yeah, especially
they're still doing it now. I mean, everybody talks about how great the storyline is now.
It makes more sense now with
it took
him.
Them 5 years
But
for it to get over.
When they first started when they broke up the but the first thing that pissed me off with Roman Reigns was them breaking up the Shield.
Definitely.
And separating Seth Rollins breaking up the Shield, and then
but he was the right one.
Yeah,
he was the right one.
It had to break up. I just think that faction wasn't around long enough. I wanted more,
Agreed.
but those three were superstar. All three of those guys were superstars in the making.
I was never an Ambrose fan in WWE. I like Moxley, but I was never.
I never thought he as a main eventer.
Yeah,
Intercontinental champion, Dean Ambrose, all day long.
Definitely.
But not world title Dean Ambrose.
No,
that's
not at all.
unbelievable. It's not believable to me.
I think Dean Ambrose is such a intense, like hardcore, like wrestler that he had to dial it back so much in WWE that it made him corny.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
I agree with
Because
that.
when he went, even the small time that I watched the AEW when it first started, I was like, this is where
he belongs.
I mean, several of those guys. FTR the same way. FTR was a great tag team in WWE. They just never got a chance to really break loose. Now they're getting a chance to break loose.
Yeah.
So really do the thing. And you start to get into a few mediocre type pay-per-views in 2019. Several matches that were just whatever. Goldberg squashes Dolph in under 2 minutes, which should have happened. But Dolph, who else is he going to go against that's going to make him look good? Dolph Ziggler's the guy.
And Dolph's going to sell for you.
Yeah. Kevin Owens versus Shane. This is when I was the point I did not want to see Shane McMahon on WWE anymore. I didn't want to see it. He was terrible. AJ Styles and Ricochet for the U.S. title. Decent match, but just, whatever.
It should have been more than a U.S. title.
Exactly. Charlotte and Trish, which would be a dream match, but Trish has been out of the ring for so long, she just didn't look good. Didn't look good at all. Charlotte, to me, is probably the greatest women's wrestler of all time.
And see, I almost have like a Roman Reigns feel with her. It's just
Charlotte.
I
can see that.
It was just pushed so much,
that.
and the flip flopping of the title with the women's title, and it's just like, okay, she wanted to get hit number 14, number 15.
I get that. I can see that point.
I mean, in all respect, she can go. She could go with just any of the men.
Right.
She can work. It was just so forced.
To me, I feel, and I get that. I get that point. I feel like if she was forced down our throat and she couldn't wrestle, it'd be different.
Yeah.
But the fact that she can go.
Oh yeah.
That's what makes me think she's the greatest.
That match, which we'll talk about. We'll wait till.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
But especially in this time and age where the women's division is so strong with talent and everything, it's just.
And that's the thing. Like, there's so many candidates to win the women's title now than what there's ever been.
Oh yeah.
Even when Mickey and Lita and Trish and all them were wrestling in their thing, and you had Michelle McCool, and you had a lot of talented women, but not all of them were believable world champions in the women's world.
Yeah.
Now you've got so many. You've got 6 or 7 women who could legitimately hold the title.
We have women's tag team titles
for a reason. So and you got to think there's several that aren't even wrestling right now. Like Alexa Bliss isn't even there.
Yeah, she's about to pop out, kid.
But you've got so many that could, at any given time, could hold that title and make it still legitimate.
Yeah, Chelsea Green's got the
tag titles with Doudrop.
Yeah,
which I wish
Sonya Deville got hurt.
She got hurt. Yeah. I mean, there's so many. So
oh yeah,
and this also was Brock and Seth for the Universal title. Lesnar hit about 50 suplexes, and then Seth gets a bunch of offense, including a frog splash on Lesnar on the Spanish announce table. Shout out Spanish announce table because it was always the first table to get broken.
Racist. Vince McMahon racist.
Yeah, it's another reason why we know Vince McMahon is racist is the Spanish announce table was always the first to go.
Nobody,
Fuck the Spanish announce table.
nobody
What
cares
was it
about
that stretch for a couple pay-per-views where they would have like 10 announce tables for like every language?
Yes.
Here's the West Somalian announce table right here. It's like, what? What the
They
hell? Where are we
always do it. They
broadcasting
always do
West
an intro,
Somalia?
and we're like, "What are they saying?"
West Somalia.
Yeah, I mean, it was like right there on the side of the like off the main rail and everything. But you had like 10 announce tables. It's like, who we broadcasting here?
Oh, man.
Let's span it over to the Russian announce team.
But this was also the first time Lesnar would be beat cleanly, without any sort of wackiness, any sort of bogus finish. Like Seth beat him legitimately. This is the first time that happened in some time. So actually, that was the first time that happened while Lesnar was defending the title. So 2020, of course, we have the pandemic pay-per-view.
Yeah, that was at down at Full Sail one.
The Thunderdome. This is when they had put the Thunderdome, which I thought was super dope.
For what you could do at that time.
If you can't have people, this was a super dope way. This was also the first pay-per-view they did outside of the Full Sail. They did this in Orlando. So they were in an arena with the setup, like they had all the screens and stuff. So super dope. So this was a weird one. Like you had Sasha and Bayley. Sasha and Bayley both had the women's SmackDown and Raw title, heavyweight title, and they both wrestled Asuka, 2 different matches, which I don't know why, but whatever. And what happened here was the first one was Bayley and Asuka, and of course Bayley wins. Interference from Sasha, Bayley wins. The second one is Sasha and Asuka. Bayley interferes, costs Sasha the match. Asuka wins the Raw title, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And so this is setting up Bayley and Sasha's feud, which would be a great one. But Bayley's one of those. I know she's got a lot of assets about her people like, but she irritates the fire out of me. I cannot stand.
I've never been a big fan.
Cannot stand Bayley.
Hot take. I fucking hate women's wrestling.
But this is also the most we've talked about women's wrestling in like any wrestling pay-per-view we've talked about.
No, I'm saying, but like, that's another reason why I stopped watching. And it's no disrespect. Well, I said it very disrespectfully, but I just don't like women's wrestling, bro. And there's like there are like 7 women's matches now on every
you're right.
pay-per-view.
It's they're hard to watch sometimes. They really
it's
are.
It's just like watching WNBA to me, bro.
Yeah.
But I think Asuka's like Asuka. I put Asuka in the same category.
No,
she's great.
Yes, I've watched some really dope women's wrestling matches, but I'm saying overall, I'm like they're trying to like
half the card is
and it's like, bro, that's not.
If you want to go make your own show, make a women's wrestling show.
But they
would
can't
have the
because
worst
nobody would watch it. It would be like 2-5 live, 2-5 whatever that was.
WNBA, WNBA.
WNBA.
Yeah, they sell 13.
Y'all trying to get canceled?
No,
about women.
I love women.
Y'all trying to get canceled?
I love women, and I think they can do anything and make it.
They can. They can, dude. I'm not saying they
save the day, Chance. Save the day.
I don't want to watch 7 matches.
Oh yeah, I agree full
Well, and again,
it looks
the main event of this one, you've got the Fiend gimmick that's really hot and popular. I think that's a good version of Bray Wyatt. I think they really
squandered that.
They squandered it. Yeah,
they squandered him multiple times.
Multiple times. I don't understand how.
Was the Mr. Rogers gimmick? Was that the Fiend, or was that something different?
That was the Fiend. That was the alter ego of the Fiend. That was Bray Wyatt, who had been he had been
institutionalized.
There you go. That's the word. And so the Fiend was his alter ego when
when he went crazy.
So, but this match was pretty good. It was him and Braun. So this was when Roman Reigns returns. He was out for. This was after his leukemia thing.
Oh yeah.
This was after that, but I mean, he came back. He was gone for several months. He comes back. Spears the Fiend, and this is when he starts aligning with Paul Heyman. So this is when we start getting the tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
I gotcha.
But this is what set that up. So pretty decent title match there at the end there.
I'm a Roman Reigns hater, dude. I'm sorry.
2021, we got Seth and Edge.
Edge is wrestling again?
This is when he came back after Royal Rumble.
Dude,
was this the one at
Safeco?
Was this at Safeco
Yes.
Field
Yes.
Up in Seattle?
Yes.
Okay, that's what. Yeah, Edge made his.
Edge came back at Royal Rumble. He wrestled Randy Orton at WrestleMania. So 2020, Edge comes back at Royal Rumble. Wrestles Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and then we are so a year after. Yeah, so he wrestled.
Didn't he get hurt?
He did get hurt. He got hurt. Yeah.
Blessed Edge is hard. That's what always happened.
Yeah.
But he comes back, and I want to say this may have actually set up the Judgment, the original Judgment Day. This may have been
because wasn't he the original?
He was
the
part
original
of it.
leader of that. So
yeah, I forgot it. Okay.
you got Lashley and Goldberg for the WWE title.
That's another
This
one
was
I
a
thought
this
so.
was a match I really wanted to see at WrestleMania. I felt like this would have been a good WrestleMania match. Because there was always hype about the Octagon history or whatever. I felt like Lashley and Goldberg would have been a great match for WrestleMania, but it wasn't. It didn't do much. Terrible finish. You had
Dude, Goldberg was dog shit.
Goldberg's son got
He's
involved
been dog
in this
shit
match.
since he came to WWE.
Oh yeah.
Everything about him is dog shit in WWE.
He brought it. His son jumped the rail and tried to. I mean, just stupid finish. But this actually sets up the hurt. What was it?
The Hurt Locker.
No,
Or
the
Great movie.
Yeah.
Solid movie.
The
What was
Hurt
name of that
Business.
faction?
Hurt
Business. This
Yeah.
is what set
Hurt
up the
Locker.
Hurt Business faction. Yes. So this is what I love.
Shout out
Like
Frank
these
Thomas.
matches are setting up something bigger than just the match. The matches itself were probably trash, but it sets up a bigger picture, which WWE was struggling to do at this time. So, yeah. And then you got the Cena and Reigns for the Universal title. This was when Reigns was struggling to get through his promos type thing, and Cena was really belittling him on the mic. But this is actually Cena passing the torch to Roman and saying, "Here you go, it's yours now." Because then we wouldn't see
step
Cena,
up.
but here and there. Yeah.
And then I guess he does step up because he's still the champ.
Yeah, Brock comes back, of course. I think Brock and Cena have a match after this, but then Cena disappears and does movies for a while.
Yep.
So
Now he
Grows his hair out.
Now he looks like Jim Barney.
He does.
he does, man.
He
It's
does.
like
R.I.P. Jim
it
Barney.
doesn't even look the same. Like Cena doesn't look the same at all.
No, not with he does have the squared up hair. Him growing his hair out.
I don't get it. Because
Cover
now
up
he's like
that
me.
Hulk
He's like,
Hogan bald spot. He's starting to get.
Spot. Like,
Yep.
dude, color your hair or something. Dog. Do something. 2022 is from Nashville, of course.
Shout out to Jelly Roll for having the theme for SummerSlam.
That's
2020.
right.
Absolutely,
Yes.
he sure did. Yeah, shout
Son
out
of the
Jelly
Dirty
for that.
South. Him and
Super
Bradley
dope,
Gilbert.
man.
I forgot about that.
And I know we're off subject here talking about Jelly, but I mean, who better? Because Jelly had that iconic 2022 year.
Yeah.
Why not have him do the
Was this-
theme?
and
in
we-
Nashville?
we-
Was this the first SummerSlam being a 2-night event?
God, it's 2 nights now too.
no, was it 2 nights? I don't
I
think
don't
it
think
was.
so. I think it was just one.
No, it
Oh,
wasn't.
okay, maybe not.
What's fun
Ignore me.
fact about SummerSlam 2022? When that was happening, Jelly was at Tailgates and Tallboys because we were there with the podcast.
Nice.
And we got him on the podcast out there,
Nice.
and he talked about how they were going to want him. They wanted him to do something really cool at SummerSlam, and I think what it was isn't this one the one when Trailer Tammy makes out with Kid Rock?
Probably
Look that up, Chance. I'm pretty sure that was what Jelly was going to be doing.
No way.
Because him and Trailer Tammy and Bunny and all them are like all real cool.
Dope.
But he was like he had already obligated with Billy from Tailgates Top
Yeah.
Boys. So, but yeah, Jelly was going to be involved in SummerSlam.
That's so dope. That would have been so cool.
Yep.
That would have
Yeah.
been so cool.
It was at Nissan Stadium.
Yeah. Her and Kid Rock. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that's what was going to happen, but
Odds are it was.
There was 40,000 people there.
Yeah.
Did they sell it? They didn't sell it out though, did they?
I don't know
Nissan
that.
Stadium's like 60,000.
Yeah,
I think.
It's but still the 40,000.
Yeah.
And I remember that last year too. It rained. They were scared to death because
Oh,
it
yeah.
rained the day before.
That's
it
what
rained
keeps
that
us.
Saturday.
That's what keeps us from having anything major in Nashville. Is the weather is so unpredictable. It's winter.
It's coming though with
one
that new
minute,
stadium, baby.
and it rains the next minute, and then it's 147 degrees for 2 weeks straight. Like
Yeah.
you just never know what you're gonna get in Nashville.
Just give us that new stadium, baby.
It's coming.
Before we go to the matches, I'm going to make this prediction right now. Whenever this comes out, this is 2023. Jelly Roll will end up selling out Nissan Stadium before
Oh,
it goes
facts.
in.
Oh, yeah.
no
Facts.
doubt.
I mean, hasn't he? I mean, he did.
He'll sell out the new stadium.
Oh, yeah. Without.
Well, he was talking about how people keep asking him, "Do you want to be the last one to sell out the Nissan Stadium?"
I saw that on,
Or the fir-
on
yeah.
Andrew Schultz's
Yeah, or
podcast.
the first one to sell out the new one. He said the new one will be here for years. I got
Both
time
of
with that one.
Both of
He
them.
said, "Let me get that. Let me sell out that Nissan Stadium."
Yeah.
Both.
So yeah. So go ahead.
I mean, but to finish off the Jelly conversation, man, to see that guy come from performing at the Cut, you know, with Mario Moore, to now, selling out.
23,000.
I mean, it's just stupid to watch, man. It's crazy.
He did 23,000 people on a Tuesday in Massachusetts, bro.
Anyone that says that man doesn't deserve what he's getting, it has not paid attention to what this man has done for decades. Like, he deserves everything he's getting right now.
And he's selling out these venues in markets that he's never sold that many tickets at.
Crazy.
And he's the headliner.
Crazy.
It's not him on the bill with Morgan Wallen. And it's him with support, like his homies. Like,
I bet I listen to Need a Favor every day.
23,000. I can't imagine what it's like having 23,000 people
singing every word of your song.
Sing right back at you.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
But hey, SummerSlam.
So the match, the biggest highlight of this match, of course, was the Roman and Brock last man standing match. This was the stupidest finish I ever saw in my entire life.
Doesn't surprise me.
But Brock comes out with a tractor, lifts the ring up.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he drives a tractor out.
Brock drives tractors?
Oh, he's a
farm guy.
He's a farmer now.
I mean, in real life, but in wrestling, he's not.
Brock owns a fleet of tractors.
No, I'm talking about in wrestling.
Yeah, he's a farmer in wrestling
guy,
now, too.
Yeah, I remember
Hillbilly
seeing
Jim.
that video clip. But yeah, he lifted up the ring with a tractor.
So after, a bunch of interference from the bloodline and all this stuff, they finally pile up a whole bunch of debris on top of Brock and Reigns. That's how Reigns wins. Like, it's the stupidest finish. But he picked the whole ring up. The whole ring was apart.
Debris.
A bunch of debris, broken tables and stuff, and they finally
debris, man.
Yeah. So
Man.
2022. I mean, what a way to finish. But this was you had Miz versus Logan Paul.
Which is the start of the Logan
I did
Paul.
watch that match. Me and Squints did watch that
and
match.
Miz did a great job putting Logan Paul over.
Yeah,
Logan Paul
look,
can go.
Logan Paul is the real deal, bro.
He can go.
I'll say I will defend the Miz till the day I die. The Miz is a blessing to
He's
the
a worker.
W.
He's a
I
worker.
mean, he
I
puts
hate
up,
him, though.
and he that's his job. His job is the main heel, but he's great at what he does.
I'll say this though, like the Miz is the WWE's version of MJF.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
He can make you hate him or you can cheer him, depending on what the situation is. But yeah, you're right. He's a blessing to WWE to have a guy like that, because that's your Dolph Ziggler type guy. That's your perfect. That's your guy that's going to work. He's going to put in the work.
and he's going to put people over.
He's going to put people
That's
over.
like LA Knight right now.
Look at him and Snoop at WrestleMania when Shane came out there and blew out his leg. Like, Miz and Snoop put together something that saved that angle, saved that particular spot right there on the cusp. Like, didn't even think about it. Wasn't planned or anything. They made it work. And Snoop, of all people, made it work. So,
Whammy.
2023.
Closing it out.
2023. We talked about Rollins and Finn Balor. This is the 7 years after the Universal title match. And even Finn actually had 7 written on it as a reminder, like, hey, I won it then. I'm going to win it again. This was the first match I've watched in a long time that made me think they're going to pull the trigger and let Finn win this thing. Like, the build-up in that match, the near falls were so close. Like, I was thinking, Finn's going to win this belt. And then sure enough, Seth Rollins ends up winning, which one of the best matches I've watched in a long time. So,
And then the Cody Brock Lesnar match was a good one.
Super good
Solid match. The whole Brock doing his Ring of Honor thing right there at the end, and the handshake at the end.
definitely.
I thought the one part of that match that was really cool is when Cody's coming off the rope, like climbing himself off the ropes, and he looks at Brock, and just the camera work on that, and it catches Brock at the perfect time where he's got this half smirk on his face, and it's just like, all right, let's go.
Let's go, yeah. I love it. And I think that feud has been one that I was not looking forward to, but I've appreciated. Like, it's good to see Brock working with someone like Cody. I'm sure there's a nostalgia effect there, like, watching him grow up.
And it looks like Brock's going out there and just having fun.
It looks like Brock's just going out there having fun. So, yeah, definitely.
I like the part in that match where he kept throwing them out, to get counted out, and he'd come back in right the last second. And Michael Cole was like yelling at Cody, telling him, "Stay down, Cody, stay down."
I love those build up moments like that. Like, that means something. You're thinking, man, is he going to get up? And then he just gets in at the last second. The near falls in these matches, though, man, like you think, oh, that's it, and then they raise that arm or they kick out at the last second. I know I've tried to avoid talking about the women's matches.
Yeah.
But this one I can't. No. This one I can't ignore. The finish of the Bianca Belair, the Charlotte Flair, and the Asuka match was so dope, because that was all 3 of them had their finishes locked in, and Bianca Belair just happened to flip Charlotte over on her back last minute to get the win. Bianca wins the belt. Of course, Io Sky comes in, cashes in Money in the Bank. The cash-ins for Money in the Bank at the most unexpected moments is what I love the most.
That's what the great thing about the Money in the Bank is.
This has to be like the pay per view with the most cash ins. I would think.
I would say most of them happen at SummerSlam.
Yep.
I don't think I think only one time it's ever been cashed in at WrestleMania, and that was Seth.
Yep.
Seth did it.
But watching that one at my house.
Yeah, I mean that was a super unexpected too, and it was a perfect moment.
But,
lasagna
going back to that women's match, that was off. Like the timing and everything was off, but they brought it around.
Great.
Yeah, and then
they found a way to bring it back together, and you've got
and then the cash in.
Yeah, so they brought it back together at the end for the finish. I thought that's a good way to.
But I think it's maybe just Charlotte not being around very much, and then
you're right about that.
Just you got three women trying to figure it out.
Because Bianca lost the belt. Charlotte comes back, immediately gets a title shot, of course, because she's Charlotte. And then Bianca was like, how do I play into this whole thing? Mm-hmm. So you had Asuka and Charlotte for a minute, and then finally they did the triple threat, which makes sense. Last but certainly not least, you got Roman versus Jey Uso. The Bloodline storyline has run its course with me. I've lost all patience with this thing. Like, they've had multiple opportunities to take this belt off this man, and they haven't done it, and this was the perfect time. But to have Jimmy Uso come out there and get involved at the end of it made no sense whatsoever. I'm sick of it. Just tired of it. Just tired of the gimmick. Great match. Match. It was a little bit slow to me, but it wasn't so much about the wrestling. It was about the story. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like they slowed the pace down of it to tell the story more. But I felt like Jay was really selling the impact of what Roman did. Every punch, it's like Jay was struggling to do anything. But it wasn't about the wrestling in this. It was about the storyline. But Jimmy Uso swerve was ridiculous. They've got to find a way to get this belt off Roman.
It's got to be Cody.
At this point, I don't give a rat's ass who it is, to be honest. Like, somebody.
Brooklyn Brawler, come on back.
Somebody take this belt off.
Somebody offer Roman Reigns a movie.
Repo Man, come get your belt, dog.
Well, it ain't gonna be nobody offering him a movie right now because they're all on strike. But offer this man a movie so he can
somebody do something. Get this title off this man so we can. It's ridiculous. I mean, he don't need the belt at this point anymore.
No, it's over.
And we get it. You win a lot. We get it.
The Logan Paul and Ricochet match, that was the highlight for me.
Super dope match.
Great match.
And then,
super dope match.
Then Logan Paul gets on a jet, doesn't even shower, nothing,
no,
just
straight
to his brother's match. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Which that was actually a pretty. I mean, I was shocked that match ended up the way it did.
Yeah.
I know it's not wrestling, but I mean, boxing's.
Nate Diaz made more in one fight than he made in his whole UFC.
And that's sad. Nate Diaz is a monster.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is a monster in that octagon. I guarantee you, if that role was switched and they were fighting inside that octagon, that would have went a little bit different. Yeah.
Yep.
Bam. Yeah.
SummerSlam Part 2. The complete retrospective.
We made it,
bitch.
We did it. This is our first two-part
Godfather
episode.
saga right here.
Hey, by the time this is posted, Chad's single featuring Project Pat represented will be out on all streaming services.
Get that shit.
Run them numbers up.
If you're in it, represent it. You know
Run them up.
Project Pat.
Y'all be sure to hit the subscribe button, man. Y'all let us know y'all's favorite matches from from 2001 to 2023 SummerSlam. Hope y'all enjoyed it, man. We got the sponsors. Y'all be sure to hit them up. Trouble Spirits, Nixon Pro Media.
And you already know what it is, Revolution 1 Media.
We out this motherfucker.
Peace.
Bow.